Well, greetings, Drum Corps fans. How's it going? Hey, deja vu, right? A little bit. It is the end of night two, quite a bit after the end of night two, actually. I'm coming back to the hotel. Pretty much just did a kind of a cleanup. It was pretty hot and steamy and humid there at the show tonight. Quite uncomfortable, and that's probably why the crowd reaction was a little bit subdued in some cases. Yeah, so we're going to just run down the list here, guys. It's about 12:30 in the morning, so I'm a little bit tired after a full day. So we're going to go straight down the list. It's right over here to the side, just so you can see. And first, let me also thank you to those who've stopped in on my channel, looked at my other videos, commented, and all that good stuff. I really appreciate it, the support. Any questions you have, anything you want to comment on, that'd be awesome. Again, these are my opinions. That's all. It's not the end of the world. It's just one person's thoughts on things. So if you agree, disagree, don't matter, right? Everybody's got their take. Everybody grabs what they want out of this activity and from each corps and all that, each show and all that good stuff. So anyway, that aside, Sonus Brass Theater. Unfortunately, I didn't see you guys. I did hear you, and it's not like you picked a nice selection of songs to play. I was in a long line. It just was crazy. So we just unfortunately never got back to our seat in time to see you. So hopefully I could get to see you guys down the road at some point. They were an exhibition. And also an exhibition was the Reading Buccaneers. They are a DCA, Drum Corps Associates, all age and weekend only drum corps. And here's two things. And I know a lot about it because I was in an all-age DCA corps myself in the early to mid-90s. I marched for 5 seasons in a corps, so I am familiar with it, very familiar with it, obviously. And here's two things that I think people forget when they're at a DCI show and they see a DCA corps perform, whether it be exhibition, whatever it be, is that two things. One is it's weekend only, right? They only meet on weekends and they only compete on weekends. Two is that their season goes until Labor Day weekend. So let's take it tonight, for example. When you see a DCA corps tonight, like the Reading Buccaneers in Allentown, they have another month to go. So that's like seeing a DCI corps tonight and it's back in July, 6th or whatever it is. So just to give you an idea, the season's longer, runs till September. Basically the first weekend in September. Anyway, that aside, Buccaneers are very good. I was impressed. I really was. They did a good job. They were on early. It was hot. Really did a nice job. The crowd enjoyed them. And I look forward to seeing them going forward because I am going to DCA Championship weekend and Labor Day weekend. We're going to see the mini corps contests, the alumni show, and the prelims and the finals. So we will be vlogging and taking videos and stuff like that from those shows as well. So now up to our first competing corps was Genesis. This was fun to see. I like this show overall. Really, I would say they're probably a little bit weaker overall than they were last year at the celebration year of 2021. But again, I like the theme of the show, and I think they're going to be okay. Again, maybe it's just, a shuffle of membership or whatever it be. But maybe not up to the level they were last year, but hopefully they can keep somewhat steady and build their program. Jersey Surf was next, and it was great to see Jersey Surf get back to kind of what we expect from surf, which is a really fun, lighthearted show. It's a show based on Atlantic City. Lots of great tunes in there. Crowd really enjoyed it. Yeah, they're not the most technical. Yeah, they're the most together. But boy, are they fun and entertaining. And I look very forward to seeing them again in Indianapolis next week. Next corps was Pacific Crest. Pacific Crest has a cool show because it's sort of, an interesting view into other corps, right? So whether it be some little musical hints here and there, or the props obviously is the most obvious thing. And what I heard is that some props or prop is going to be added for the final stretch of the season. And no, it's not the Velvet Night Shark, according to this person, but there is another prop or props to be added to the show, which is pretty cool. We'll be curious to see what that is. Some of us were thinking that it might be something from Crown, because right now there's nothing on the field from Crown that they have in the props. So overall, good job. Again, it seems they're a little down from last year even, so hopefully they can kind of regroup and do a little better once, now we're past COVID and all that, and hopefully get some better recruiting and get some fill in the ranks a little bit more. Look like they have quite a few blanks. Next up was Madison Scouts. I've seen these guys twice already this season in person, and they're definitely getting better, no doubt. Again, my big complaint is with the brass line is I wish they would open them up a little more in the early and middle parts of the show. They clearly have some steam, no doubt, because if we get to the end of the show, they give us a nice big sound, but they play at a very, very conservative level and very narrow dynamic window, the horn line, most of the show. They move very well, and overall the flow of the show is nice and pleasant. I really do. I like it. It's pretty good. It really is a nice feel to it. And the ballad has to get bigger for sure. It definitely needs to be more dynamic and more dynamics in there for sure. The Troopers. This was a real hit with the crowd. People love the Troopers everywhere they go, and it's no different, of course, in a place it's history as Allentown is. People love the Troopers, and boy, they were the first corps to give you that big smack of sound from the brass, and they did very, very well. A little sloppy overall, a few timing issues in the beginning of the show, but they ended with a rousing finish, and excellent job overall. I look very forward to seeing that again a couple times. Hopefully they'll make it in the top 12. Intermission, whatever it was. Crossbone were next. Saw Bones. He was on the side one end zone. I don't know if Flow Marching showed Bones or not, but that's where Bones was hanging out. Very cool to continue the tradition. And overall, Crossbone were very good. I enjoyed it a lot more in person than I did seeing them online. The guard seemed to be doing very well overall. It had one or two little drops here and there, but overall, very good. And the brass line is very strong as well. So, some really nice moments in the show. And they ain't even wearing some headgear, right? Hats, so that's pretty cool. Very few corps are. Next was the Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers, that's kind of a surreal moment, to tell you the truth, because again, I saw them at the Rockford, Illinois show, and I also saw them at the Whitewater, Wisconsin show, and they were just pounded bad with COVID and doing, standstill onlys, and to see where they are today, it's quite surreal, as I say, to see them as strong as they're doing. If anything looked a little weak was maybe some of the visual, the marching, some of the forms and intervals looked a little bit off for them. Typically, they're pretty on the ball in that area, but certainly an interesting show, keeps your attention as a Cavalier show always does. And it's not my favorite Cavalier show. It certainly was a hard one to come back with something as good or better than, the other side of the tracks, which was the 2019 show. It was just amazing. So, but overall pretty good. I'll be interested to see how this goes into Indianapolis. Next court, pretty tough spot for them to go on because Cavaliers are so well known and the crowd is obviously fans, lots of fans of them, was the Blue Stars. Again, a court that really, it's been around a while, but they really haven't made any huge splashes for most people anyway. So for people watching this show with the Blue Stars, which I really like, this is one that I started not liking very much, but I've really become a fan of this show throughout the season. So basically they've got kind of a flat response again going on into the Cavies. It was a little tough just because, as I said, the Cavaliers are so iconic and Blue Stars not as much, but it's a great show. I like the Blue Stars show. I think that the two soloists, baritone and trumpet, are just awesome, just totally awesome. They nail it every time, and overall, I think the score is going to do pretty well come finals week. St. Clair Vanguard was next. Obviously, very, very big crowd favorite. Although, to be honest, they got a tepid kind of response. It was hot and humid, guys. It was not a comfortable night to sit there in the stadium. And if you've ever been there, it's bench seating, so it's very close seating. And yeah, they didn't really get people too overly excited. There was definitely some great moments. I think the best moment in that show is certainly the end, the way they end up in the center of the field with all the props kind of laid down. Really is nice effect, and definitely a good change there they made. And of course the drum line, obviously you can't say anything about, you can't mention the Vanguard without mentioning drumline. And really, I was listening more to the pit tonight than anything else. But honestly, their marching looked kind of sloppy too, to tell you the truth. Intervals and form and shapes of form. It's looked like that for a while, so I'm not too sure what's up with that. But anyway, on to the Cadets. Well, it's sort of a home show for them, no doubt. They're based out of Allentown now. So well received, great job. They had some audio issues at the beginning, but nothing catastrophic. So the show went on, and of course they got the crowd on their feet with 2 separate company fronts at the end. But the ballad is very interesting. To hear that and see it in person is quite something. It'd be very interesting to see how that all sounds and comes together in Indianapolis in the Dome when they're all the way in the corner of the top, side one corner. Should be very interesting, but a very good show, very entertaining, definitely some very cool stuff in that show. And last on was Carolina Crown. Now, obviously, they knocked it out of the park. This was the crowd's favorite corps tonight, no doubt, got the biggest response, and deservedly so. That their brass line is just unbelievable. The drum line was very strong tonight, did a good job, and the guard was also very strong. So good all around. Soloists were on the ball, no misses there. That trumpet soloist is insanely good. They should be in like the Chicago Symphony or something at some point. They have such incredible tone, beautiful, and they haven't missed a beat either. I mean, this is the first time I saw Crown in person, but I've been watching them a lot on the flow marching shows and live streams, and he is just, spot on pretty much every time. And overall, great 2 nights, folks. I look forward to Indianapolis, certainly to see some shows and stuff that I've not seen yet. But I have seen most of the big boys, so to speak, at least once. You can see, I'm going to tell you right now that the 2 most largest responses from the crowd this weekend was the Phantom Regiment, night 1, and Crown, night 2. Take a good close look what I'm wearing here. It's my hat. It's Phantom Regiment hat. And what am I wearing for a shirt? Carolina Crown. That's that shows you that I've been around for way too long to know that these are going to be sort of crowd favorites and probably the crowd favorites. It just happened, again, it's just from going to this for so many times and knowing the Allentown crowd very well. I've gone almost every year since 1997. I think I missed 3 or 4 years of Allentown. That's it. And this hat's from 2011, the Juliet show, and this is from, I think, 2018. So, yeah, I've had them for a while. So, oh no, 2018, I'm sorry, much earlier than that, 2008. So, there you go. These were the 2 biggest rousing responses with these 2 corps over the 2 nights. Just a great 2 nights. Glad the weather held off. It was very, very muggy and humid both nights. That did affect the brass sound getting to the crowd a little bit. But, still the rain stayed away, which was great. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you stay tuned as we get into Indianapolis. I have more videos to upload from Allentown. I got a minute or a minute and a half of every corps program, the very starting minute of their shows, and some other behind the scenes stuff. So hopefully you check those out. All right, cheers folks.